Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dakman Productions podcast number 3. Today we are going to discuss Conahey Rail. My name is Sean Conahey, and I own Dakman Productions. I also own Conahey Rail. I've been posting quite a few videos of my Conahey Rail layout on YouTube. Gotten a lot of interest, people asking questions, so forth and so on. So I wanted to dedicate this podcast to Conahey Rail. So Conahey Rail started in 2015. It's an O-gauge high rail layout. I've had people ask me, what is high rail? It's a term used by 3-rail O-gaugers, meaning that everything that you run on that layout is true 1/48 scale dimensions, only the rail is higher in profile, meaning high rail. There is also, people get confused with O scale, which O scale is 2-rail and uses a lower profile track, but is also 1/48 scale. So there is a difference between high rail O gauge and then O scale. So hopefully that clears up some confusion. So Conahey Rail started in 2015 with this set right here. This Conrail limited 1987 Lionel set. I originally looked at this set back in 1987, and it was very expensive. It was like $400, $450 if I remember right. Came with a few cars, track, transformer, locomotive with magnet traction. It just wasn't in my budget in 1987. It really was very expensive. So fast forward that to 2015, going through life, and I found this set, brand new in the box, still sealed. I'm like, I'm going to buy that set. And I did. And I got it out, and I ran it on the floor in my spare bedroom. And it just didn't do anything for me. So I said, well, let me build a platform for it. So I did. I built a 4x8 platform for the train. And I'm running it, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then I go out onto Facebook and join the O-Gauge groups and Lionel and MTH and all them. I'm not particular about brand names, I really don't care. But I go out on the groups, and I'm looking at other things, and TMCC and Legacy and DCS controls. So I'm like, I got pretty intrigued about that. So I went ahead and I bought a Lionel TMCC Conrail SD70 Mac. I won't forget it. And I brought it home, and I bought the Cab 1, Lionel Cab 1 TMCC controller with the antenna, the old one. Got it cheap at the in 2015 at the local hobby shop. I think they sold it for like $50, whatever have you. So I was up and running. I had all these controls, the horn, and the crew talk, and I'm like, wow, this is pretty good. This is great. I couldn't believe what I was missing all these years, because I was originally in O-Gauge from, started in 76 and then got out of it in 1990, around that era, to get into other things, car show hobby, but that's another story. But I couldn't believe the things that I was actually missing. So I got hooked on the TMCC, and then I ran into a Lionel Legacy Conrail GP30 at Nicholas Smith's, and I looked at it, I liked it, and I bought it. And I ran it, and I couldn't believe that had more features than the TMCC, so that was the end of it. So I actually started adding on to the 4x8 part of the layout, and then it evolved into an O-Gauge layout. So I eventually, a couple years after 2015, I built a separate layout for all my traditional stuff. So now I keep everything separate. So I have a traditional layout, which has no name. And my O-gauge high rail layout, excuse me, Conahey rail. So, and that's how I got started back into O-gauge and then keeping things separate. And I kind of like it that way, actually. I like having everything scale on one layout, and then the semi-scale, the stuff from MPC Air, and on a different layout. So I like having that separation. Some people don't care; they'll run high rail or scale cars or traditional stuff. They'll mix it all together. Some people don't care. It's all what you want to do and at home for yourself. So I want to show you a couple things here, but before I do, Conahey rail started with hand bent 048 curves. I actually hand bent Gargrace flex track into an 048 radius, and I guess I did okay with it. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. And then as I expanded and grew, I actually changed everything out into 054. So because I wanted to run bigger Lionel legacy locomotives like the SD70 Max. So when I went from TMCC to legacy, even though they were both SD70 Mac Conrail locomotives, the TMCC would actually run on 042, and the legacy had flanges on all the wheels, so you could only run on 054. So go figure. I asked Lionel why they did that, and they said modelers wanted more prototypical looks, so they were not going back to non-flanged wheels on legacy. So, at any rate, so I ripped out all the 048 hand-bent curves and put in 054. Figure that's the end of it. That's the biggest I'm going to go because I like the diesel air. I'm not going to run any steam. So 054 be all that I'll ever need. And sure enough, 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I was invited to a run for fun event put on by the North Penn O-Gaugers, hosted by Headings Trains. And I get there, and what you do is you bring your locomotive, and he provides you train cars to pull them with. So, since I brought a Conrail locomotive, he pulled out these 86-foot high cube box cars made by Lionel. And I'm looking at them and said, wow, these are nice. So I pulled this train of Lionel scale-sized 86-foot box or high cube box cars, and I instantly fell in love with that train and had to have it. So when I bought them. I started buying them, and when I made my first run on 054, because Lionel advertised them to run on 054, I found out the hard way that maybe they'll run through 054 single-handedly, but not in a train. The knuckle couplers were getting stuck in a curve, so when the train went around an 054 curve, the knuckle couplers would get stuck in whatever direction you went in, and then when it went straight, well, let's just say it didn't straighten up. It stayed stuck, pulling the train off the curve, and it was a horrible run that I made in a video. I was really highly disappointed. I looked to see what could be done, and looking at the design, the kinetic couplers that they used when they're in an 054 type curve, there's one tang on there that should have been longer, and it actually slips out and it gets stuck. So you have to turn the car upside down, push it down, and then the coupler goes back in place again. So it could have been a car that would have run on 054 if they had made the tang a little bit longer on that kinetic coupler. But anyway, so I packed everything up. And in huge disappointment, I still didn't give up on it because I said, look, myself, if I sell these things now, I'll lose my shirt because not everybody can run them. They're not a hot seller. They're not a hot item. And I'll probably be forever selling what I bought. Pennies on a dollar. So I looked at my layout and I said, and I came up with a plan to go from 054 to 072, which is where we're at now. I'm in the middle of that project right now. So I do want to show you that and what's going on. Alright, so everybody knows this shot. This is one of the famous shots in my videos. So anyway, this was the first section I converted to 072, which I did last year on vacation. So this part of it was already done. At that time, I still wasn't going all 072. I did it to ease the train in a transitional type of curve. So the train would come through this 072 and then go into a 054 U, or what I call the horseshoe. This originally was 054, but the problem was when I started running longer trains, it wanted to pull them off the track. So just like a real railroad, I made it transitional, meaning it goes from 072 to 054, so it's wide before it gets tight, and it did ease the tension of the trains. You guys seen many of my runs. I've had run as many as just about 50 cars in a train with no problem. So this was already done. The next problem was this horseshoe, which many of you have seen in my videos, is 054. Well, there is no way that 072 is going to fit in there. And I was not chopping this up and redesigning this whole layout just for that. So I had to come up with another idea. And the idea was to build a bypass bridge. The bypass bridge simply does that. It bypasses the 054 horseshoe. And the bypass is all 072. So real railroads have done this before in the past. If it's too costly to redesign something or rip something out, they will actually create a bypass. Certain trains, such as the double stack intermodals, there's only certain tracks that those trains can go on because of low bridges. So railroads have built bypass tracks just for these trains. Designing the lift-out bridge, or designing a bridge, was pretty much a challenge. I had to decide what I want. I decided on a lift-out bridge, and to make the process go faster, so I can get this done, I decided to do a girder bridge. So there was a couple of things I wanted this bridge to do. Not only did I want it to lift out, but I wanted it to swing out of the way and be able to rest while a train goes under it if I decide I don't want to run 072 at the time. Or I can take it out completely. So let me show you how I designed this. So basically what there is there's what they call a double ball hinge, cabinet hinges under here. And that's what makes contact to power this up. So I can take this out without having to unplug wires. It's somebody on the O-Skill O-Gauge forum had recommended it, the O-Gauge tricks and tips, and it worked perfect. So there's very little wiring. So what happens is I made this so it swings around, and hopefully I'm not blocking the camera too much. And it comes down. and it slips into place just like this. So now the bypass bridge is in place. This is all 072. A train can now run through here and bypass the horseshoe curve. I like the horseshoe curve. I'm not eliminating it. I'll still use it to run the smaller stuff. When I want to run larger stuff, I'll put this in place. So just as easy as that, I don't have to plug nothing in. And right now, if I turn the power on, it is hot. It's live hot. And I'll show you those ball hinges here in a minute. But as you can see, I decorated it. It's not exact prototypical, but like I said, I really didn't care at the time because I want to try and get this thing, keep rolling with it. I don't want to spend a year building a bridge and not being able to run anything. So that just kills me. But at any rate, so another thing, like I said, that I can do is I can swing it out, rest it, and now you can walk in and out of here. And if I don't want to run anything for a while, no big deal. I can actually pack this away and be done with it. So let me show you those contacts that I made using ball hinges, the cabinet double ball hinges. So here the bridge will come down, and this is live. When you turn the track power on, this is live. The bridge will come down and the male part will go in here, and that's what powers the bridge. I got one end of it that's power, and the other end of it that is a negative or a return. Also, what's new on Conahey Rail, I was able to find the SD80 Mac dummy unit for the other two locomotives, or the other two SD80 Macs. I started this in 2015. Unfortunately, these came out in 2012, so finding them was really hard. I've been finding one piece at a time as I could, and I was finally able to finish up the triple header that I really wanted to create. So yeah, you will be seeing this in a feature video soon. All three of these are Lionel Legacy SD80 Max, 2 powers and 1 dummy, the whole complete set. Lionel did make a Lion Master SD80 and dummy as well. They are not scale. They're like sort of semi-scale, and I believe they were made before these, but don't quote me on that. But they are different than the Legacy. You do have to be careful if you want to set out to find these, that you don't get confused with the Lion Master SD80 Max. So as you can see, I still have to finish up with some ballasting on the layout. I did end up changing the curves back there. The 072, that is done. And then I have to finish ballasting this. And then that part will be done. So I'm getting close. Currently, I am working behind the scenes of that wall. As you can see, this is 054, and there's no way 072 is going to fit in there. So I will be, I'm building a platform behind that wall, so 072 will fit, and then there will be 2 tunnels, and the train will go in one tunnel and then through the other. That's what I've been working on at this point in time. So I'm not going to reveal that at this time, but if you're on the O-Gauge tips and tricks on Facebook, that group, you can follow what I've been doing there. So that's what I've been doing on Conahey Rail, high rail layout, and I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Also, just to make you aware, none of my podcasts are set to monetize, so you can watch this pretty much commercial free. I decided to delete the podcast commercial free because there's nothing worse than a commercial interrupting a video you're probably interested in. And also, as you have seen, I've been inviting guests to run on my railroad with their locomotives, and because I come to realize that there's guys out there who have trains or locomotives, and they don't have a layout, or they take it to a club or whatever have you, and it's not always available to them. So I have been offering people to run their locomotive on my layout. Just bring a locomotive caboose. We'll set you up with a few freight cars and you can have at it. Right now, I can only support Lionel Legacy, Lionel TMCC, Atlas O with TMCC, and K-Line with TMCC. I cannot do any MTH at this moment. So maybe in another year, but not at this time. So if you have any of those locomotives and you would like to run on Conahey Rail, send me a message. Leave me a comment. And I'm in the South Jersey area, and maybe we can set something up. Alright, so thanks again for watching, and I thank the fans and the people who enjoy Conahey Rail, high rail layout, and I hope to bring you a lot more once I finish this project. We'll see you later. Bye.